Welcome to ceramics. I'm going to give you just a quick tour around the room, talking about some different tools, some different places that you need to go, just to give you a basic outline of kind of how our ceramic room works. Okay? So we have the door, you come in and out, boom, right away we have our trash bins up here. Everything you need to throw away, big, large bins, and you can do that right at the front of the room. Moving along to almost the most important thing right away are our 4 sinks. Our sinks, like I said, they're the heartbeat of the ceramics room. If they work well, the class works well, right? So making sure that they're clean, we're being respectful of these sinks, and everything will be all right. Over here at the sinks, we have spray bottles we use for projects, smaller cups for water, larger buckets for water, all over by this sink area here. Moving along, right in the sink, we have this big, huge bin full of clay, right? This is the student clay. So at the start of the day or when you start projects, you're going to come to this large bin, open it up, and grab out clay for you to use for that day. Okay? Now once you use it, and you're done with it, and you want to recycle it, then you come and you put it in this small bin. Right? So you start with the big bin, take clay out. Once you're done, you put it in this small bin for it to be recycled by this pug mill. And then us as teachers recycle the old clay and put it right back into the big bin for you to grab and use. Okay? Above the student clay, we have some large sponges for cleaning, right? Primarily a lot of the tabletops and the countertops, things around here. And above that, we have some smaller sponges for kind of smaller detail work, possibly on their projects even as well. Moving on from kind of the clay area, we have this wedging counter. Right? A lot of great things here at this wedging counter. We have rulers, T-squares, scrapers to clean tables. We have whisks to whisk glazes together. We have a bunch of other things up here that come with glazing: wax brushes, newspaper, rubber scrapers, more mixers. So a lot of things up here that work with glazing as well as kind of cleaning with these scrapers. We have brushes up here for underglazing. And then finally down here below, we have a lot of these kind of wood boards, right, that we use to actually work and create and transport projects. A lot of you are going to be using these smaller boards, but down here at the end we have some larger boards as well. Okay? It's a great thing to know where those are and then how to actually put them back because you'll be using them a lot. Okay? Keep moving on to here, back in this corner we have the student storage, right? We have our cubbies, and there's a ton of storage, both in this kind of alcove and this one, all used for student storage, which is great. You'll see we even have on the side here a couple of blue ladders for you to reach kind of the top cubbies if you need to, for a student or for your storage that you will have for the entire trimester. Okay, so fantastic area. You'll be storing, putting your projects back there, coming back the next day. We also do have aprons over here for you to keep your clothes clean. You'll see Mr. Hall and I wear an apron every day, and your aprons are going to be kind of hanging right here. This bucket, this bin back here, not garbage, it's where we put dirty towels or aprons for them to be cleaned and be ready for the next day. Okay? Which brings us to a kind of our first little room, and it's our middle storeroom. Okay? Our middle storeroom has a lot of important things. Primarily, they have all of our big buckets of glaze, right? For our dip glazing, clear glazing, things like that. They're all over here on this side wall. The biggest thing for you to do is just come back here, read the labels, find the one that you need, and then once you're done, to put it back inside these kind of nice holders over here. Okay? On this side, we have a lot of important tools like bags that we use to store our projects with. And then all the way back here, we have a lot of towels to use to clean sinks, clean areas, clean floors, as well as even use them to set across your lap if you're using, let's say, the wheel. The final back here in this middle storeroom is kind of this photo booth that we use to take really awesome pictures with once we're completed with a project to get kind of that nice studio finish final picture look. That's the middle storeroom. Moving along to our other kind of room inside the ceramic room, and that's the kiln room, right? And the kiln room is really, really important. It's where all kind of the projects go to get finished. The biggest thing about this kiln room is that mostly the instructors are going to do most of the work back here, right? If we come in here just a little bit, you'll see that we do have some areas for you to put finished projects for us as teachers and instructors to then take them and put them in the kilns to get fired. Okay? Other than past here, you don't really need to come farther in here. It's a lot of kind of nuts and bolts stuff that working with kiln. The biggest thing is back here, putting and storing finished projects, but making sure that we also read labels and figuring out where to put finished glaze stuff and where to put finished bisque stuff as we go along. And so just making sure that this kiln room is, you know it's very important, but know that it's more teacher oriented and students use it to help us. Okay? Back here in this corner, we talked about cleaning and the sinks earlier, very important, but back here we have large brushes, or large brooms, small hand brooms, dustpans to help clean, as well as kind of our emergency exit door. Really, really lucky to have an emergency exit inside the actual ceramics room. So in case of a fire drill, in case of a lockdown, this is our exit that we use during the day instead of going back out into the school building. Okay? Brings us to our next counter. We call it the Amico counter. It's where you get a lot of different underglazes, Amico pint-sized glaze, banding wheels, underglaze refills. A lot of our underglazes are down here in the cabinets. Which brings us to these test tiles, right? These test tiles are awesome. They show you kind of what the underglazes look like, so you know what colors you need for a specific project you might need. And the final thing over here on the counter are a bunch of tools, kind of cups with different tools that you will primarily use when working with ceramics. These are the tools that students use for the most part. Okay? Coming over here, finding what you need, using them, cleaning them, and then putting them back over here on the side Amico counter. Okay? Last thing, kind of not on the counter, but up here on the wall, you will see a cork board, and it'll usually be filled with nice calendars that Mr. Hall and I really stress that help you plan out and figure out how and where you're at weekly, daily, monthly for that trimester for ceramics. And so working with your calendars, using your calendars that are always going to be posted up there is a very, very smart idea. Moving along, kind of the last kind of corner of the ceramics room, you'll see these big kind of areas that we use to store students' backpacks and other jackets, things like that, to keep the room clear and clean. So that's kind of more student storage. And then over here, we kind of have these tool tubs, right? And you'll see some of these tubs have tools that you can find over at the Amico counter. We're going to use those tools first, and if those ever run out or you need more, then you can come over here. But there also are more kind of specialized tools, whether it's rolling pins, dowels, texture tools, scissors, colored pencils, compasses, really any other tool that you might need for ceramics. If it's not on that Amico counter, it's going to be over in this kind of tool tub corner. Okay? Moving along, kind of our whiteboard, we have a lot of daily information here, written down, great, useful information. And finally, we kind of have our last spot in the tour, which is this teacher desk. The biggest thing I have to say about the teacher desk is it's just that. It's for the teachers, it's for Mr. Hall, it's for myself. If it's on here, biggest thing, you probably don't need to touch it. Don't need to grab it, don't need to go through things, don't need to even be back in this area. personal space. If we tell you to come grab something, great. Otherwise, think about this as kind of off limits back here in the teacher area. Okay? And that brings us right back to the door, which you leave every day with. Okay? So that's kind of a tour. It gives you a basic outline of where everything is